Welcome back. Right now we are on lesson 45 on page 25 in our packet. We're doing systems of inequalities. Remember, an equation means we're equal to a certain number. An inequality means we can be greater than a number, less than a number, or less than equal to, greater than or equal to. Alligator mouth bites the bigger number. So let me just zoom in a sec. And the first question says, which of the following points is a solution to the system of inequalities? Now, this is one where I found I can't really do a shortcut. So what I'm going to do is take this X and Y number and plug it in there. Okay. So that means 6 goes in for Y, negative 6 goes in for Y, and 3 goes in for X. So I'm just going to do my work by question or option 1, negative 6 less than or equal to negative 4 times X plus 2. So when I evaluate this, you can do this in your head or put it in the calculator. You get negative 10. Now remember, the alligator mouth is supposed to bite the bigger number. Negative 10 is not bigger than negative 6, so that's false. So now I'm going to do option 2. Oh, and if it's false for one, it's just false. You don't have to check the other one. So I'm going to put a 0 in for X and a 2 in for Y. So 2 goes here, 0 goes there. 2 less than equal to negative 4 times 0 plus 2. So you get 2 less than or equal to 2. Well, that's true. 2 is less than or equal to 2. But it's really good if we check our work because, I make mistakes sometimes. We all make mistakes sometimes. So let me go. Let's double check my key. Oh, take a look at what I did. Silly Mrs. Morrow. I found it true, but look, I forgot to check the other one. Definitely sick brain right now. So I have to take this point and plug it in here now. So 2 less than or greater than 0 over 2. So when you evaluate that, you get this. That's false. So this one cannot be our answer. Oh my goodness gracious. So let's take a look at my key now. It's a little bit neater maybe. As I go through this, you can see my work. It's a little neater right here. One was true, one was false. Not the answer. For option 3, when I substituted the point negative 210, both inequalities were true. So that's why number 3 is true. We're going to kind of bring this full circle and do a lot of true-false things today. Clear this thing. So when we do a system of inequalities, or when we graph a system of inequalities, we have 2 graphs, 2 lines. It could be other things, but in this course, we're just doing lines. And then we have to color in the true side. We did this a little bit back in the fall, and it's coming back. So a system of inequalities is shown graph below. Which of the following points lies in the solution? So hopefully you can see here we have some shading going this way. In our class, we used highlighter. And then some shading going this way. The solution is where the 2 shadings crisscross. So right in there. So what I'm going to do is plot these points that they give us. Negative 1, 2 is here. No, that's not in the crisscross area. 1, 5. 1, 2. super close. I'll do a different color for this one. 2, -4, right 2, down 4, and then the last one, 4, 2. This one is our answer. This guy right here, besides the fact that it's like a shade over of the crisscross area, it's also very close to the dotted line. And the dotted line is like our electric fence. It's not quite on the answer. So 4, 2 is our answer. Okay. There's a really good chance this will be on your final and or your Regents exam. And there's also a really good chance you're going to have to solve for y. In this question, it says, hey, look at the system of inequalities shown below. Determine if each of the following points is, I think it says in the solution or not. So I'm going to graph this guy first. And it says x plus y is greater than 10. Well, in order to graph this, I have to get y by itself. So I'm going to subtract x on both sides of the inequality. And then I have y greater than 10 minus x. So at this point, I am not going to show you how to find points on the calculator. If you're stuck with that, please let us know and we can help you. But right now, I am just going to graph it. And I will come back as soon as my points are done. Okay, I have a bunch of points on there. Now let's just review quick. Let me move this. In this problem, we have an equal to. No, I'm sorry, hold on. In this problem, we have a greater than. There is no equal to bar, so that means we make this a dotted line. If there was an equal to bar, it would be a solid line. Now, what we have done in the past is, well, I'll show you. And then I'm going to show you the trick that I'm going to use from now on. You pick a test point. We usually pick 0, 0. Plug that in. Since the test point is false, we shade on the opposite side. I know my trick is if the alligator mouth bites the Y, shade up to the sky. Whichever one gets you the right answer, use that. This work over here is scrap work. You can show it or not show it. Okay. Oh, wait. One other thing I have to do. I have to label Y. There. Okay, let's move to the next one. Thankfully, the Y is already by itself. It's the only thing on that left-hand side. So I'm going to go to my graphing calculator. Even though it's an inequality, I can still type this in and find points. You really only need 3 points, 2 or 3. But since I'm doing this on a tablet, freehand, I'm going to put as many points as I can. That has an equal to bar. So that means, whoops, that this is a solid line. And I'm going to label it y greater than or equal to. Okay. Now we have to shade. I know my trick. If the alligator mouth bites the Y, shade up to the sky. But for ones like this, I kind of have a tough time telling which one's up and which one's not. So I'm going to pick a different color. I guess I'll do orange. I'm going to use 0, 0 as my test point. So plug a 0 in for Y and a 0 in for X. So sometimes when it's obvious to me, I don't use a test point, but sometimes I do. It's okay to use both strategies. Okay, 0 greater than or equal to -5. That's true. So I'm going to shade on the test point side. Now you're not allowed highlighters. So we've used highlighters in the past. I'm just kind of coloring in that side of the line. Okay, to save myself space, I'm erasing that. When you do your work, don't erase your work. Okay. This is not as easy as it looks to do on a tablet. There's our system. Beautiful and colorful. Now determine if each of the following points is a solution or not to the system. So let's plot. Oh, I didn't know there was a black pen. Shoot. Oh, better late than never. Holy cow. The 0.38, I'm going to plot that. I'm going to go with yes. See how it's in this crisscross area right here? I'm going to say that is a solution. SOL. Okay, now the next one, 5, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there. No, it's close, but it's not in the crisscross area. Oh, see, I don't really read directions so well. Part C says graph the solution set. So instead of substituting numbers in, I just graphed it and then I looked at my graph. Okay, next page. On the grid shown below, graph the solution to the system of inequalities shown below. And then we're going to say one point that's in the solution and one point that's not in the solution. So I'm going to do this one first because it is a little trickier. It's X and a number. There is no Y, so that means it's a vertical line. You can't graph that on your calculator because it's not a function. So what you do, you put a point on the x-axis on -2, and this has an equal to bar, so it's going to be solid. And then I'm going to put another point on here to make it a line. Label. Now I'll do a test point. Erase this. So I'm going to just use my good old 0, 0. Plug a 0 in for x. That is true. 0 is bigger than -2. So I shade on the side of 0, 0. Okay, I'm going to pause this now and graph that. I won't shade, but I'll do the rest of it. All right, I used my graphing calculator. I found some points. And now I'm going to shade. I would do if the alligator mouth bites the Y, shade up to the sky. This one does not bite the Y. So I would shade down to the ground, but I'll also show you how you could do this with true false. So for this problem, I'm going to choose 0, 0. Okay, it's right there. So I plug a 0 in for Y and a 0 in for X. That goes away. That's why we like 0. That's true. So I'm going to shade in on the true side, on the 0, 0 side. Now I can see where the solution is. It's where my red and my green crisscross, all in there. So to give a point in the solution, you can say any point that's in that crisscross area. I'm going to use 0, 0. It was true for both of them. Why not? A point not in the solution, it can be anywhere outside of that, anywhere where I've got that crazy blue going. So I'll say 10, 10. In class, we'll go over lots of different options. So what you guys have to do now is graph these two problems. I'll come back in a minute and you can check your work. Okay, so here we are now. I'll zoom in on the first one. Whoops. Oh, for goodness sakes. There we go. So it looks like, show you the colors I did. This first one I did in green, and the second one I did in pink. Okay, so you can check your work. And of course you can see I labeled my one inequality up here, my other one I labeled down here. So any place in this area where the two inequalities crisscross, where the two shadings crisscross, that would be a solution. So if you put a point anywhere in there, it would be true. Okay, and then here's this one. So it looks like I did the top one in a dark green and the bottom one in pink. Oops. Okay. So again, check your work. And you can see when I do this a little bit neater on paper, and it's a lot easier to see where the shades crisscross. Now, on a Regents exam, you can't use different colored pen. You have to use pencil or pen on a graph. So what a lot of people have done in the past, they'll do one of them in pencil and the other one in pen. It doesn't matter. You can do them both in pencil or both in pen, whatever works for you. If you're stuck on this, what you should do is make a note of which problem, or if it's the whole section, and then stay after and ask us questions. One last thing before I end the video, we're going to look at letter C. I'll get you started on that, and then you have to finish the rest on your own. This right here is a vertical line, okay? Now the second one, let me zoom in a bit. I'm not going to do any of the graphing, so just clear the whole thing. There we go. We got to solve this guy for y. It's been a while. The y stays put. Don't move it. We're going to take this 4x and move it over, so we subtract it. So I'm going to bring down my 5 times y greater than negative 10 minus 4x. Divide by 5. Divide everything by 5. So what you've got here, negative 10 minus 4x. It's pretty yucky, but all you're going to do, put that in y equals and get some points, plot them, and then go about your business as you've done on the other problems. Letter D actually throws people off because it's so short. Okay, we have 3 times y greater than 2 times x. The x is already on the right-hand side. Leave it alone. Just divide by 3. So you end up with y greater than or equal to 2x over 3. It looks weird because it's so small, but again, just put that into y equals and find yourself some whole number points. Like I said, we're getting to the end of the year. Please let us know if you have questions.